Hey you guys, what's up? It's your boy Terence back at another video. How you guys doing? Hope your Monday is great. Hope it's going great. I know I did not upload a video yesterday, but like I said, I'm trying to figure out a schedule for myself that works for me. I mean, I did the whole, one video a day, pretty much for I think so 17 to 18 days for now, right? And I thought of taking a break because life happens and I was caught up with work, and I thought it would be good to take a break and step back and look at things in a different way, right? But yeah, the goal is still to produce 365 videos overall. It doesn't mean I have to produce it in 365 days, which would be crazy, right? I'm not one of those vloggers who just opens and shoot. I just interesting things just randomly happen that way, right? So yeah, the goal still remains the same. The goal is still 365 videos. However, 365 videos, not 365 videos a day, right? So I'm just still trying to figure out how to schedule the process of creating valuable content for you guys into my, let's say, my weekly routine, right? Like how many videos can I produce where it's not very difficult and challenging, because as you see, most of the videos I shoot at midnight right? And yeah, pretty much I'm just like you guys. I have a life, I have a 9 to 5 job kind of thing, right? So today I thought about talking something interesting, since it's Monday, right? And we've all heard the term, Monday blues, Friday blues kind of thing, especially in industries for people who work in the corporate sector, etc. Right? Still suffering from the after effects of the weekend, right? Most of us, party and gets lost or whatever, correct? And it's difficult to transition between Sundays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays for the normal being, right? Unless you're like super passionate of what you do and then you want to work even on weekends, right? That's very rare. But for most of us, we tend to get a little lazy on Mondays, right? Because we're just transitioning into work. So coming to the topic, right? How not to be lazy, right? You will have seen millions of videos on the internet, on YouTube or whatever, right? On Vimeo or whatever, talking about oh, it's because you're lazy because you don't have this, you don't have that, right? It's ideally not because of those broader things. We have to really think about topics like this very carefully and systematically, and also add value to it, right? The way we talk. What I'm trying to say is, so my first thing is, generally when people are lazy, they're lazy at 2 or 3 things that they do, and they're not lazy at most of the things. Most of the people, at least in this generation, unless they're poverty stricken, they still have 3 times food 3 times a day, right? Now there are some instances wherein people like go anorexic and don't have food, like that's a different story. But generally for the average Joe, they have food 3 times a day, right? So what is it that's causing laziness there, right? Generally, like I said, it's 1 or 2 things in their day that they are very lazy at, right? So my suggestion is, unless if it's something like that's life threatening and and you have to act on immediately, right? Let's say you're lazy at some kind of goal you set for 2021. Let's say you set a goal of increasing your weight or losing your weight, right? How would you tackle this? Would you write a pattern and write a plan and follow it diligently? That's not how it works. That's not at least how I worked on my hobbies as well, or things that I needed to work on. That's never how it is. But what I found is the most valuable thing and most valuable source of information is breaking down that task that you set for yourself, let's say for the year or whatever, into extremely small pieces, right? I would say like 1 minute. Now let's say, I'll give an easy example. Let's say you set a goal for 2021, let's say to go to the gym, right? But most of the people I have observed from my observation and in terms of my recognition, they get overwhelmed with what's happening around in the gym, especially when they join like small gyms or medium sized gyms, right, where it's crowded and packed, and then they get overwhelmed, what to do, and they keep asking people here, and then in 2-3 months they quit, right, because it's they feel it's like too much of a burden. So let's say, what if that person had set a goal of, let's say, first month I will just do 1 minute of push-ups, just 1 minute of push-ups, right? How much ever, it can be 3, 4, 10, whatever, right? If you're extremely obese, things like that. So the whole point here is, what I'm trying to say is, break up your tasks, right, in such a way where you do it 1 minute every day at the beginning. 1 minute a day, let's say for 1 month or 2 months. It's fine, slow and steady, guys. Remember, it's a marathon. Life is a marathon, not a race. So if you break down your tasks into 1 minute a day, I'm pretty sure our attention span or our attitude towards doing something of not, even though it's difficult and it's time consuming, right? I think so we can still hold on to, let's say, 1 minute every day, right? You will see over time, let's say 1 minute you do it every day, right? 1 minute is not a big thing, right? Let's say if I have to learn to write, as an example, if I write for 1 minute in a book every day, right? So over time I'll get acclimated to 1, then 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, until you end, let's say, at 60 minutes a day, or that the goal of you working out in the gym for 60 minutes a day, right? So the whole premise of this first point is basically breaking up your tasks into extremely small bits, right? And doing it for just at the beginning, just for 1 minute a day, right? Trust me, that works. I just gave you a brilliant example of people why they quit, working out, etc., right? Because they're overwhelmed with what they have to do, right? But if they just set things like, I do for 2 months, I'll just do 1 minute push-ups a day, or I'll run extremely fast just for 1 minute a day, right? Just giving examples, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing I feel is, it's really important, is you set goals for yourself and not for others. Now what I'm trying to say, let's say, again, I'll use simple examples, okay? Let's say for 2021, someone, not me, just give an example, right? Someone from the universe set a goal of, learning a new language, right? Now, do you feel that person has to learn the new language for himself, herself, or should he learn the language for himself or for someone else? Now, there may be that edge cases where then they're in love with, let's say, a French girl, but this person is American and he wants to learn. That's a different agenda, right? But what I'm trying to say is, when you set goals, right, please think about them very carefully and take time. It's okay if you take time in starting it. Like I remember, one of my role models in life is Mr. Arnold. For people who know me, right? Right? He always says you have to have a vision, and that vision has to be for yourself, where you want to go, not where someone tells you to go or where someone you've seen is going. No, that vision has to be for yourself, right? And it has to call you, right? So whenever you set goals for the year or for the next 6 months or the next 2 months or whatever, right? Understand, are you setting goals for yourself, or you're setting it for someone else? Because if you're setting it for someone else, it probably means that you don't like it, right? And if you don't like it, you will be not proactive, you'll be reactive kind of thing, right? So reactive to the new things that may come, right? So when you set goals for yourself, that way you'll be more proactive to doing it. It's like this, if I gave you one opportunity, if I said, I'll pay your salary for the rest of your life, but you have to do something that you like, right? It doesn't matter what. Now, do you think you will wait for the weekend and you will wait for me to tell you what to do? No, you just automatically keep doing that 24 hours a day, right? Right? So it's like that. So set goals for yourself and not for others. Second most important thing, because it plays in your mind. And the third one, let me just check my handy dandy notepad here. Is it kind of uses the first 2 points, of like I was talking of doing something for 1 minute and then setting goals for yourself and not for others. It kind of adds into that. Is understanding the limitation of joy and happiness, of your joy, happiness and satisfaction you get from doing that said goal or task. Because like I said, overall people in a day, they're generally lazy at 1 or 2 things. They're not lazy at everything, right? They don't want to do something in particular, right? So how do you understand, right, your limiter for joy and satisfaction, right? Satisfaction, or whatever you want to call it, happiness or whatever, in that task that you're doing, right? So let's say you do an example. Okay, we'll use an example. Let's say someone wants to learn French as an example, right? So he wants to learn to speak French, or he wants to learn to write in French, right? So if he's writing, let's say he just got a French textbook and he's trying to transcript it. Basically he's just going to copy paste to paste and he's just writing it in a book, right? So for me it may be like 1 or 2 minutes that I get bored of doing that, right? But for a person who's really, and like I said, that the goal is something for him and not for others, right? His limiter, or his limiter for joy and happiness for that task of learning French while writing it at the beginning, right? Maybe 5 minutes. After 5 minutes you may be like, I'm tired, right? So you need to understand that limiter, because as soon as you reach that, you need to stop. And you stop saying, oh, for now this is my capability, this is what I do, right? The reason why I'm saying that it also bleeds into the other point is, let's say for the first month you're writing French for 5 minutes every day, right? And you're getting a level of satisfaction. Now you really liked it, Now obviously you've been doing 1 month means you probably like it really a lot, right? A lot, you love it a lot. You love writing every day, writing French every day, right? So you will test with, let's say, 1 hour 5 minutes now. Then I'll test for the next one 1 hour 10 minutes, right? But you need to understand where your limiters are at that point of day or time or week or whatever, right? As soon as you hit that threshold of, I'm feeling like it's a burden kind of thing, right? You just need to stop and just make a note of the time that you started and the time that you stopped, an average, and then calculate that, is it increasing or decreasing. If it's increasing, the level of time that you can spend on a task is increasing over time, it means you really like that and you're progressing, right? So I know it's it was a very not theoretical but a kind of a ranty kind of video, but I felt I needed to talk from the heart and talk from the mind in terms of what I felt could be the reason for laziness. Trust me, I was never a guy who talked this much. You can ask people who knew me in my school days, etc. I'm never this guy who was talk this much, and it took time for me to understand how things work. I've done a lot of mistakes, but we all learn from them and grow from them as well, right? So feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments. I really appreciate the new people who are coming to the videos, right? To watch the videos and to the channel. Please subscribe. It helps me with right amount of data to take my direction, to take my channel in. And another great sign would be to like the video, right? Until then, guys, you guys have a great Monday ahead. I'll see you all tomorrow. Cheerio.